Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody here to join our show tonight. Thank you for being here. As you can see, we have our addresses here scrolling across the bottom of our screen. You'll also see our PayPal and our Venmo addresses also floating across, scrolling across the bottom of your screen as well. We appreciate that because we would like to invite all of you. We'd like to invite all of you to donate to our channel. We do that. We need your help. We really do need your help. We'd like at least 10 super chats today, $5 and higher. $5 and higher, guys. We'd appreciate that so much. Now, I'm going to give you like an hour, 59 minutes to be able to do that for us. I'd appreciate that so very much. I really would. 59 minutes and counting. Okay? Now, if you do that, I'll host a question and answer session only for the membership of our channel here. If you're members of the channel and you donate at least $5 in super chats to our channel during the next hour, we will host a question and answer session only for members of our channel here. Question and answer session hosted by me here on our channel. We appreciate all of you who do that. We'd appreciate all those who also donate to our PayPal and Venmo locations here as well. We need your help to keep this program on the air. Now tonight, first thing I'm going to do is talk about politics. Unreal, and I'm sorry I do. I'm going to talk about Mark Carney, the now elected Prime Minister of Canada, and his challenger, Pierre Poilievre. He was a conservative candidate to Canada. He lost by a very thin margin. Now, as of yesterday, the reason he lost was because he only got about 39% of the vote. The Liberal candidate got approximately 44% of the vote. That's how it came out. In an August Reed Institute poll released on December 30th, the Conservatives were in a supermajority with 45% support, compared to the Liberals at the time of 11%. That was back in December. The results of a poll released Saturday had the Liberals at 44%, with a 4-point lead over the Conservatives, who were at 40% at the time. As of yesterday, the Conservatives only had 40% and the Liberals had 44%, which put Mark Carney as your Liberal Prime Minister of Canada. Now, what does this mean? It means the Liberals will continue to take over Canada. The Liberal Party in Canada will continue to rule Canada. They've done that for years and years and years since Pierre Trudeau took over as Prime Minister. Now, what does this mean for the rest of Canada? Basically is this. The province of Alberta wants its sovereignty. The province of Alberta, Canada wants its sovereignty. Premier Smith updated the Initiative Act that slashes the referendum signature requirements to just 105 of last year's voters. It extends a collection from 90 to 120 days. In other words, Alberta wants to secede from Canada. These changes make a referendum on Alberta's independence far more achievable, empowering Albertans to take control of their own future with a lower bar and more time. The push for separation is now within reach. This really has been an extraordinary election in that, by all rights, Canadians have had it with the Liberal Party. The Liberal woke policies and what they're misspending and they didn't like Trudeau in the beginning, and they hated Trudeau before he was thrown out of Canadians' leadership several months ago. Now, Mark Carney explained that the political dynamic changed with Justin Trudeau. Trudeau announced his resignation of Canada as Canada's 23rd Prime Minister, and Trump was inaugurated the 47th President in America in January. And former central bank Governor Mark Carney succeeded Trudeau as Prime Minister then, and he was the acting Liberal leader since then until now. Between tariffs and threats of annexation, Trump became the single most important issue in the country literally overnight. That gave Mark Carney an opportunity to be the first out of the gate to say that they weren't going to take it anymore. They were going to fight. Carney said, "We're not going to put up with this. We're a sovereign nation." In other words, Carney did not want President Trump to annex Canada as a 51st state. Now, I've heard from quite a few citizens there. Fox News had interviews that I can't put up here for threat of copyright. But there were many people in Canada that did not want Trump to make Canada the 51st state. While there were a lot there were also those that didn't want it. That's why they vote for Mark Carney. That gave Mark Carney an opportunity to be the first out of the gate to say, we're not going to put up with this. The campaign has been a two-party race between the Liberals, Mark Carney, and the Conservatives, with Pierre, I can't even remember his name right now, with Pierre Poilievre. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce these French names. But Mark Carney is the Liberal candidate. And these candidates had completely different leadership style, who focused on strengths that their critics consider weaknesses. Carney is a 60-year veteran, former senior executive of Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs is a Liberal company. Goldman Sachs has a lot of money. That's what propelled Carney into the prime ministership of Canada. He won the Liberal leadership when he was called by voters to consider during a time of economic crisis fueled by Trump's threats of annexation and tariffs. Carney's experience, which includes running the central banks of Canada and England, and as a United Nations Special Envoy for Climate Action and Finance. In other words, Carney is another Green Party candidate. His detractors, however, have accused him of being out of touch and not connected to the common man, and has spent fair amount of time outside Canada as well. That's a lot of reason why some Canadians did not like him. He spent a lot of time out of Canada. The results of the Ipsos poll conducted by Global News Canada, released on April 21st, showed a narrow 3-point lead for the Liberals at 41% over the Conservatives at 38%. Daryl Bricker, CEO of Ipsos Global Point Affairs, told Fox News Digital that the Liberals were ahead of the Conservatives by 12 points in mid-April and have lost ground ever since because of the effect of Donald Trump, both positive and negative, on Canada. There will be a Liberal government, which seems to be what polls point to as a 44% lead over Conservatives' 39%, literally overnight. That gave Mark Carney an opportunity exactly to be the first out of the gate. Now, with that said, what do you all think of that? What do you all think of another Liberal candidate running Canada? What's everybody's first thoughts about that? I'd really like to know. It affects all of us. What happens in Canada is going to affect the United States as well. You folks that live in Canada, I would like if you would put your thoughts in the chat here so we can understand what happened and we can help each other, because that's exactly what we want to do. Richard, what do you think of what's going on with Canada's election? Richard lives in Nova Scotia, Canada. I was hoping Catherine Sigurdsson from Saskatchewan, Canada would be here. Oh, there she is. Catherine said she's not happy. Catherine, did you want the Conservative candidate, Bolivar, to be the candidate that won? Did you want him to be the Conservative candidate that won? Richard Smith says he doesn't like it at all either. Unreal. Unreal. Why do you think there was such a mandate by the, what shall I say, the Liberal Party to elect Mark Carney? What do you think was their mandate? Hello, Marianne Doer-Knotts. We welcome you here as well. What do you guys think was the mandate by the Liberal Party? Why did they win? Catherine's in the chat saying she wanted PC government. She grew up conservative. I did too, for the most part. However, when President Kennedy was alive, he was a Democrat, but then the Democrats wanted what the Republicans want right now. So I believe we're always conservative living in my book. Zaleo says Carney scares me. Yes, he's kind of scared. I believe he's kind of scary as well. I think he's just like Pierre Trudeau. That's what I believe. Catherine Sigurdsson said immigrants. Yes, immigrants. That's a big deal too. Richard Smith says he wasn't Justin Trudeau Castro. Yet I believe also that Justin Trudeau was a member of the Castro family. I believe that. Incredible. Incredible. But Mark Carney won by about 5 points in the election yesterday. Now I was hoping to have a Canadian Patriot won, and our buddy from British Columbia, Canada here. I was truly hoping to have those brethren here on this channel so we could talk about this. Richard Smith says so they jumped without thinking. Yes, probably did happen. Now, with what happened with the election, it's anybody's guess what's going to happen now going into the future. But I believe it will be same game plan that Trudeau had. I don't think there's going to be much changing. Richard Smith says Canada is going to go down the drain. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. Satio, I appreciate you being here as well. We've had this channel of the Emergency Management Associates talking about emergencies, talking about disasters, talking about what might affect each one of us in our lives, and what we can do to control what we know about, what we can do to be able to be prepared for whatever happens in our lives. Typically, that's emergencies and disasters. However, it also has to do with the elections as well. It has a lot to do with politics, because politics runs our countries and politics runs our lives, unfortunately. Unfortunately. We need to keep track of what's most important in our lives, though. That's what I want to put forth here. We need to keep track of what's most important in our lives. We should not ever let these politicians take over our lives. That's my own philosophy. Catherine Sigerson says she has an East Indian family. I can appreciate that. A lot of our politicians here in the United States, even though they say they're conservative people, they're also from India and Pakistan. They're also from Iran and Iraq. Unreal. What does that do here to the United States? Presently, what that has done, we have a Muslim congressman who's trying to impeach President Trump right now. I talked to you about that last night. Unreal. Please, guys, also stay on topic with what we're talking about. I want people to understand what we're talking about, and that's why I would appreciate anybody staying on topic. Only persons are possibly Renee or Heather here. They're talking about weather warnings. Renee just put up another tornado warning issued today at about 6:57 p.m. Central Daylight Time, which just happened about 5 minutes ago. That tornado warning will be in effect until about 8 p.m. tonight. Excuse me. Actually, it'll be in effect till 6:45, which is 7:45 Eastern Time, almost 8 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. That's in Little Rock, Arkansas. Those of you who are in Little Rock, Arkansas, you need to seriously consider going to the center of your homes or in your safe place or a storm shelter. That's where you need to be. Tornado warnings mean a tornado has been sighted on radar and on the ground. If you have a tornado warning going, you need to be very much concerned with seeking shelter wherever it can be. Do not get under underpasses, overpasses, because those tornado winds can suck you out from underneath those overpasses and can kill you. Don't be caught in those places at all, ever. Ever. Okay? Anyway, does anybody have any more thoughts about the Canadian election? I think it's important to talk about because of the importance we share with each other's futures. Canada and the United States are tied hip to hip. We are. We are. As President Trump said last year, the line between Canada was drawn with a Crayola. Drawn with a Crayola. It can be merged or can be erased. Okay? We're tied at the hip. What happens in one country can affect the other very hugely, in a huge fashion. That's why we need to very much pay attention to what's going on in our countries and help each other. I think President Trump also wants to help Canada. And I believe most of Canadians want to help the United States as well. Not fight, but be brothers and sisters on sisters. That's what I believe. Judy Olson's here from Southern California. Thanks, Judy. We appreciate you here. Catherine is asking here in the chat, I wonder if Carney and Trump can talk. I hope they can. I hope they can. From the things that I've seen today and last night, it sounds like Carney is 180 degrees out of what Trump likes. I think Trump and Carney will fight like oil and vinegar. That's what I think will happen. Marianne Dora says, go NORAD, Canada needs the USA. And that's true. Canada does need the USA, but also the USA needs Canada. What Trump proposed when he proposed that Canada be annexed by the US, no tariffs, no real taxes at all, and free protection with the Canadian and the United States military becoming one. Becoming one. Largest nation in the world, protecting each other. That's what Trump wanted. Catherine Sigurdsson says she's scared. I can appreciate that too. I can appreciate that as well. I don't like anybody to feel scared either. I don't like to live in fear or fright myself. I don't like that. I try to avoid it, in fact. I believe we can do that as well. But we also need to be prepared and ready, prepared for anything, literally anything. Anything could happen, and anything will happen. That's what is unfortunate about everything here. Anything and everything could happen, and it probably won't be good. I'm just putting that out there. It may not be good for anybody. Now, also with what happened here in the United States during the past short while, we've seen judges here in the United States make decisions that's bad on the United States. It's bad for their cities and states. It's bad for everything. Today, 2 Ukrainian women with no United States citizenship have been arrested and charged with unlawfully voting in the general election last November. They were early voting in Panama Beach, Florida, October 31st. Svetlana Dyrgyenko, 53, and her daughter Yeltsaveta Dymyenko, 22, made their initial appearances in West Palm Beach Federal Court today. According to the criminal complaints, they entered the United States on April 2021, again illegally during the Biden administration, on non-immigrant visas, which allowed them to come into the United States for a short time and leave. In August 2024, while they lived in Florida, they registered to vote in federal elections using a system that requires certification of United States citizenship, which neither of them had. On October 31st, 2024, still without U.S. citizenship, Svetlana and Yeltsaveta voted from the Palm Beach area in the federal 2024 general election for the election of the United States president. They got caught. They're now sitting in jail, pending extradition to their own countries, deportation to their own countries. Unreal. That's what happens. That is exactly what happens when these illegal aliens vote against our laws. They don't want anything to do with our laws, and they come out, violate our laws, and that makes them illegal alien criminals. Illegal alien criminals. They deserve to be deported. They deserve to be deported, and deported they will. Unreal. Now, I understand also there is pending arrests of more federal judges and district court judges as well. That's going to happen because the judges have made decisions that were in violation of the law. And presently, the FBI and the Secret Service and Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, are investigating, and they're about to make more arrests of judges here in the United States that have violated the law and violated the Constitution of the United States. That's about to happen. Sad but true. Sad but true. It's going to happen. It's probably going to happen very soon. Does anybody have any questions about that? Marianne Dora Knott says they want Section 8 welfare and Medicaid. You're right, they do. But they're not entitled. They're illegal aliens. Illegal aliens. It would be one thing if they were citizens of this country. It would be a totally different thing if they were citizens of this country. But they're not. They're not. They're illegal. And Biden let them in 2021. Biden let them in. Biden let over 20 million people into the country. Let them in. And now we've escorted some 17,000 gang members out of this country. and we're about to not extradite, but deport another 150 million, not 150 million, 150,000 illegals out of this country. We're about to throw 150 people out of this country and send them back where they came from. It's sad. President Biden, when he was president until January this year, he was allowing upwards of 40,000 people into this country every month. President Trump has now got that down to no more than 9 people. 9 people a day that escape or arrest here at the border, southern border of the U.S. 9 people. That means the southern border is 95% closed. 95% closed. What else has happened at the border? It's not just the Border Patrol and Immigration Customs Enforcement. Just this past month, President Trump wrote an executive order allowing for an area 65 feet wide and over 500 miles long between the southern area, southeastern area of Arizona, all the way over into California. Closed by the military. 65 feet wide away from the Mexican border, and I don't think it's 500, but 200 feet all the way over to San Diego border. San Diego border with the ocean. 200 miles. Military reservation. 200 miles military reservation. Renee, Steffi, thank you for that $5 super chat. God bless you for that. We appreciate that. Now, folks, that's what we want. We want the border to be shut down. And now, I've just been told earlier today that the United States military has arrested 10 people for violating the sovereignty of our borders. Our United States military has now arrested 10 people. I hope it continues. I hope it continues. Our buddy Don Patokas, who's a moderator on this chat, and dear friend of mine, says he's not a cop. He's an undercover American Snoop Society, ASS. He's an ASS operative, aka snitch. Mess around and find out he's here to help, kind of, sort of, LOL. Don Patoka's my kind of snitch. I love you, Don. You're awesome. You're awesome. And Pickering says it sounds like a Stephen King novel. She's a huge fan on the Watchtower. I love it. I'm also somewhat of a Stephen King fan. I've read a lot of his books. In fact, I think I own 2 or 3 myself. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Do we have any questions about what we've been talking about? Mary endured nuts. You're all right. Mary says, I don't know which of you do better, emergency management, religious education, or social political prognostications. I'm a triple threat. Yeah, I am kind of a triple threat, aren't I? Bingo. I'm a triple threat. I like the sound of that, actually. No, I love the sound of that, matter of fact. I'm a triple threat. I love it. I love it. Anyway, but does anybody have any comments about what's happened in Canada or what's happened with our political situation here in the United States during the past week? President Trump is doing a doggone good job. Yes, the tariffs are kind of causing a little, shall I say, discontentment here in the United States, because it has caused somewhat of a rise in some prices. But our gas prices finally went down last week. Our gas prices right now are $2.57 a gallon. $2.57 a gallon. That's the lowest price it's been in 4 years. Since I got here, it's the lowest price it's been from 4 years ago. That's a good thing. President Trump said he wanted to lower gas prices to just under $2 a gallon at least. If that happens, our food prices will also go down because it won't cost that much money to transport our food and product from one place to another here in the United States. When gas prices go down, the price of everything will also go down. Okay? I know that to be a fact because I've seen it. Cassandra Goss, please do not use capital letters. Your chat was taken down because you use capital letters, only because YouTube doesn't like it. YouTube considers that to be yelling. You can put that up, but please do not use capital letters. You can use one capital per sentence. Okay? But I appreciate the thought. Yes, please, guys, give us a thumbs up. Thumbs up is one analytical factor that YouTube uses to decide whether they're going to allow anybody else on YouTube to watch our channel. And the length of time you're here on our channel also. The more time you spend here on the channel, YouTube considers that to be a factor on whether they're going to allow anybody to watch this channel. Your time watching it, the thumbs up that you see here, and also if you leave a comment in the comments section underneath this video after we're done. All three sections are YouTube analytical factors. So please stay here. Please stay here. 2 days ago, I did a video and I put it here on YouTube, and we got about 11 people chatted on the comment section. I love it. I love it. YouTube likes it because they're allowing more people to watch our channel. But YouTube has demonetized our channel, so they're not paying me for putting up their ads on our channel. They demonetized our channel again. I'm trying to get that monetization back. Okay? I'm trying to get our monetization back. I filed a complaint against YouTube. And while I'm talking about complaints against YouTube, our government has filed suit against Facebook and the other media giants here, saying they have a monopoly against citizens here in the U.S., which is a violation of law. YouTube is going to get broken up. Zuckerberg, who's been trying to play both sides of the fence, giving millions of dollars to the Democrat Party, and then at the last minute last year, paying President Trump. Zuckerberg, you lost. You lost. Zuckerberg isn't going to be able to do anything. Zuckerberg will also see Facebook Meta broken up. Marianne Doer of Knott's just gave us a $10 super chat. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate that. I'm giving you a Emergency Management Associate sticker on your super chat, and I'm also giving you a thumbs up here. Thank you for that, Mary. I appreciate you. God bless you. Thank you so much. Mods, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Okay, I want to get down to brass tacks now. I told you that I was going to talk about earthquakes tonight, and that we will. I want to show you what happened around the world first, before we get into what happened in the Pacific Northwest. Around the world. I want to go over here to the Central Pacific Ocean on the east side of the Pacific. I think it's important we understand what's going on here. Just a second here. Okay, we had a large earthquake over here in the Eastern Pacific Ocean, just off the coast of Panama and Costa Rica here. This is a large 5.2 earthquake. A large 5.2 earthquake here. This occurred at approximately 13 minutes after midnight last night Eastern Time. a large 5.2 earthquake. Let's go over here to the coastline of Costa Rica, El Salvador area. This is a 4.0 earthquake here, a moderate 4.0 earthquake. This happened just after 6 p.m. today. 6 p.m. today. A 4.0 earthquake just off the coast of Costa Rica and El Salvador today. Okay, let's drop down to the South Pacific. Down here south of the Fiji Islands here. This is a 4.4 earthquake, but guess what? 519 kilometers deep. 519 kilometers deep. That's pretty much a semi-deep earthquake. I'm saying a semi-deep earthquake. There's a reason for it. Now I'm going to go over for kicks and giggles to our if I can pull it up here. I want to go over to our quakes and magnitude chart here. Give me a second here. I want to bring it up here on the program so you can see it. It's called the depth to magnitude conversion chart. Just a second here. Come on here. Just a second. I'm just about to find it here. This is it right here. Okay, folks, this earthquake here was 519 kilometers deep. 519 kilometers deep. Let's go over here to 519, which is in the center of this chart. About, well, actually, let's use the 520 kilometers deep here. We add 1.04 to the magnitude here. We add 1.04 to the magnitude here. This earthquake is going to propagate a 5.6 earthquake. This 4.4 is going to propagate a 4 or 5.6 earthquake, a 5.6 large earthquake here in the south of the Fiji Islands here. It's going to propagate or birth another large shallow earthquake, larger shallow earthquake. Folks, this happens. This happens. When I've been talking about earthquakes here, we've looked at this chart many times. This earthquake here, 4.4, is going to propagate or birth a 5.6 large earthquake. This earthquake had happened here in the Fiji, north the Tonga Islands. It could happen over here to the southwest in the Legacy Islands here. It could also happen over here in Vanuatu. It could happen in the Solomon Islands as well. It could happen over here in Papua New Guinea. But a 5.6 earthquake is going to happen within the next 3 to 10 days. If we're lucky, we might see it come over here to South America along Chile or Australia's southern point here in South America. It could happen. It doesn't happen very often, but it has happened in the last 6 years that I've been here. Unreal, but it has happened. But again, this 4.4 is going to propagate a large 5.6 within the next 10 days. Okay, we've seen this here before. Now, USGS is not showing any other earthquakes, and they're lying through their teeth. The earthquakes in the Kermadec Islands south of here, the earthquakes over here in New Zealand, and the earthquakes south of New Zealand here. There was almost a major earthquake south of New Zealand in the Macquarie Islands last night. The Macquarie Islands almost reaches down south to the Antarctic ridge here. But it was a very strong 6.3 earthquake. Very strong 6.3 earthquake here. It could happen again. It may. But New Zealand here is having earthquakes as well. Most of those earthquakes here in New Zealand are 2.4 to 3.6 here in New Zealand. Not a big deal, but USGS not saying anything about it, that is a big deal. They should be showing those earthquakes. Now, we go over here to Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea. Folks, this is Kimbe, Papua New Guinea here. Look here, we have another large earthquake. This is the 8th large earthquake here in the last 7 days. The 8th large earthquake here in the last 7 days. That's pretty bad. Earthquake after earthquake. Every straining earthquake here, large earthquake. Very bad here for people here in Papua New Guinea. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve this at all. These people struggle even to live. As I pointed out before on this channel, they live in cardboard and wooden huts. That's about the size of it. They don't have buildings. They don't have anything big at all. Most of these people live in cardboard and wooden shacks here. If something like this happens, their shacks go tumbling down. They run scared out into the wilderness here. That's exactly what it is as a wilderness area. This is a tropical playground, but they don't live in a playground. They are experiencing emergency preparedness as a way of life. They experience emergency preparedness as a way of life here in Papua New Guinea. A large earthquake hit here for the 8th time in the past week and a half. I was going to say 7 days, but I think it's been like almost a week and a half now. The 8th earthquake here. We go further out here to the west, also Papua New Guinea. This is Finchhaven, Papua New Guinea here. We've had numerous earthquakes here in the past. This is just another one. This is a 4.7 moderate earthquake here. This is 208 kilometers deep. Still a fairly shallow earthquake. 4.7 moderate earthquake here. Further to the west, also Papua New Guinea. This is a 4.3. Badong, Papua New Guinea. This is 109 kilometers deep. Notice where the earthquakes are. Right smack dab on the earthquake fault. Right smack dab on the earthquake fault. In this case, it's also the edge of the craton, the edge of the plate. There are 7 different plates here. There are 7 different plates. One plate subducting or going under the other plate all throughout this region. All throughout this region. That's why we have so many earthquakes here. And again, I want to emphasize, USBS is not showing hardly anything going on here in Indonesia. Literally nothing. There are 32 earthquakes here in Indonesia today. Notice Indonesia, or USGS is only showing 2 earthquakes here in Indonesia. Let me show you those over here. This one is Los Palos, Timor-Leste, Indonesia. This is a 4.6 earthquake, 122 kilometers deep, east of Java. We go further north here. This is a 4.8 near Tobelo, Indonesia, also 93 kilometers deep. This is also Biring, Indonesia, another 4.7 moderate earthquake, 57 kilometers deep. So they're showing three earthquakes here in Indonesia. What a joke. What a joke. When there's really 37, 38 earthquakes here. Crazy, crazy. Up to the north. They say this is Tobelo, Indonesia, but it's not. This is the 4.5 here, and this one is in Sarangani, Philippines, just like this earthquake is here. This is a 4.4, and this is a 4.5. Sarangani in the Philippines here, 10 kilometers deep. There are more earthquakes here in Mindanao, Philippines here, and up here in Luzon, Philippines here. Those are small to moderate depth earthquakes. Small to moderate depth earthquakes here. Okay? Unreal what they're not showing us. Let's go over here to the Indian Ocean on the Carlsberg Ridge. This is a 4.4, like I said, on the Carlsberg Ridge here in the Indian Ocean. This is also 10 kilometers deep. We go over here to the Aegean Sea here. USGS is still not showing us all the earthquakes in Iran and Iraq. They're not showing any earthquakes in Turkey, even near the Turkey-Syria border. That border region is where we have 50 earthquakes here today, right here. 50 earthquakes in this area today. USGS shows us nothing. Nothing. We go over here to the southern Aegean Sea here, just northeast of Crete, Greece. This is a 4.5 earthquake here. 4.5 earthquake, 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. 4.5 moderate earthquake here. Now there is an island here, and this earthquake is just northwest from Fry, Greece. Fry, Greece. These islands here are part of the Volcanic Islands that belong to Greece. This is Fry Island here. This earthquake is northwest of Fry Island. Okay, there are other earthquakes north of here in the Volcanic Islands. Here in the Volcanic Islands, these earthquakes are caused by magma. These earthquakes here around Santorini Island here, Argos here to the north. Magma underneath the crust of the earth here. I shouldn't say underneath, in the crust of the earth. The magma is under pressure, trying to poke its way through big, huge pieces of magma and lava here, and even granite. Granite is a derivative of lava. Hard, solid lava. And the magma is trying to poke its way through the solid lava and granite, the bedrock. As it does so, it fractures the rock in its way, causing earthquakes. That's what we're seeing here. But again, USGS is not showing it here. There are 17 earthquakes here in the Volcanic Islands here, caused by magma beneath the surface. That's going to continue to happen until we have a magmatic earthquake here, and a magmatic eruption. Probably a very catastrophic eruption because it will involve seawater. Unreal. And that is going to happen. There are other earthquakes over here in Greece like we showed you yesterday. A lot of earthquakes. We go over here into Italy. A lot of earthquakes here in southern Italy, and over here in the north central part of Italy, and going up into the Andes Mountains here, into Switzerland, Germany, Austria, up here into France, and possibly even over here into the Netherlands area. Down here in Spain also, handful of earthquakes here. Off the coast of Spain down here is the Azore Islands. We have a couple minor earthquakes down here today, and the Azore Island just south and east and west of, not east, south and west of Portugal and Spain here. Okay, that's happening here too. We have no reported earthquakes here in the Atlantic Ocean. No reported earthquakes here in the Atlantic Ocean. Over here in South America, we have 32 earthquakes here. But again, USGS is showing us one here in central Chile, This is a 4.4 near Aveyah, Chile here. Now, I don't know how to pronounce this, Aveyah or Aveyah, Chile here. 4.4 earthquake. This is 25 kilometers deep. We go north into northern Chile near the Argentine border. This is Aveyah, Chile. 4.3 earthquake here in the Andes Mountains. Go over the coastal area. Tirana, Chile. Tirana, Chile. T-R-A-N-A, Chile. 4.2 earthquake, 21 kilometers deep. There are 18 earthquakes here. 18 earthquakes here, and they're not talking about anyone but the 3 here. What a joke. Talk about a lie. Talk about a lie. Let's go over here to northern Venezuela. Northern Venezuela. This is Gira, Venezuela. A 4.6 earthquake here. 4.6 earthquake here. We've had earthquakes here before. Okay? This earthquake fault that you see here, it starts all the way over here in Guatemala. It's called the Cayman Ridge. Starts here in Guatemala, goes out into the Caribbean Ocean. Then it turns north for a short time, approximately 200 miles. Then it continues its eastward journey just south of the Cayman Islands, north of Jamaica, skirts the Cuban coast here, then continues to go eastward over north of Haiti and north of the Dominican Republic. It goes over here. This spit of water is called the Mona Strait. The Mona Strait. We have some earthquakes here. This is a 3.4 earthquake here. This is a 3.6 earthquake here. Just south of there right here is a 2.9, 3.0. This is northwest of Rincon, Puerto Rico, 35 kilometers deep. Just south of there, a 3.8 small earthquake here. And the biggest one right here is I shouldn't say the biggest one. Its near biggest one is a 3.3 small earthquake here. 7.4 kilometers deep here in the Mona Strait. We continue eastbound here, north of Puerto Rico. This is north of Brenes, Puerto Rico. 3.3 earthquake here. This earthquake was dropped by the Cayman Ridge Fault Zone. The Cayman Ridge Fault Zone took the seismic energy from Central America and dropped it here north of Puerto Rico. Further south over here to southwestern Puerto Rico. Here in central Puerto Rico, this is a 2.4 earthquake near Macayo, Puerto Rico. 8.2 kilometers deep. South of there, also here in southwestern Puerto Rico. This is important. This factual information is important. Okay? Charlene is asking, where's the link to make donations? In the scrolling at the bottom of your screen here, you see 2 PayPal locations and a Venmo location where you can make donations to our program. 2 PayPal and 1 Venmo location where you can make donations. You can also send us a donation through the U.S. mail. 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. That's where you can make donations. You can also join our program as a member of our EMA family here on YouTube. At the top of our program description, right below this video that you're watching today, at the top of the program description is a link to join as a member of the EMA family here on YouTube. You can do that. Otherwise, you can go over to our PayPal or Venmo location and send us a donation there, or you can send us a donation in the form of a check or money through the U.S. mail. Wrap your check or money inside of a letter to us. Tell us how you're doing. Tell us what you're doing to be prepared. You can send us a card. Many people send us a card and also tell us how they're doing and put that money that check or whatever you're doing, put that in the middle of a card and send it to us. Quite a few people do that. We appreciate that. Demon Catman just put it here in the chat. Thank you, Dean. Appreciate it. Demon Catman says, yes, check is good. Absolutely. Yes, we can accept a check. That'd be great. But these 4 earthquakes down here in southern Puerto Rico, they were caused by man-made earthquakes. These are aftershocks of two major earthquakes here in 2019. December 26th and December 28th, 2019. The earthquake on December 26th was an 8.0 earthquake caused by man. I'm not going to get into it tonight because it'll take quite a bit of time to talk about. But an 8.0 on December 26th and also an 8.4 caused these earthquakes here in southwestern Puerto Rico. This is a 2.6 northeast of Puerto Guerrero, Puerto Rico. Further to the east here, this one is west-southwest of Indios, Puerto Rico here. A 2.5 earthquake here. Further south out here offshore. This is a 2.3 here, south-southeast of Maria Antonia, Puerto Rico. 12 kilometers deep. Also out here, a 2.4. Also south-southeast of Maria Antonia, Puerto Rico. 12 kilometers deep here. These 4 earthquakes were caused by an 8.0 and an 8.4 that happened December 26th and December 28th, completely destroying this area. Leveling homes, leveling business buildings, and also on the second earthquake after December 28th, there was a great big huge sandstone sandstone sculpture over here at the beach. Sandstone sculpture hit the beach, left from over 200 or 300 years ago. Just like you would see a sandstone arch over in Arches National Park in Utah. That 8.4 earthquake destroyed it, left it in rubble. That's why stupid people with electronics can bring down buildings and also cause hurricanes and tornadoes. That's what they do. They manipulate weather and they manipulate earthquakes as well. Sad. Sad. It happens too long, too many times. I've talked about this quite a bit because I dislike it so much. I'm trying to hold these hellions of our government responsible for what they're doing. That's why I talk about it. Let's go over here to the further to the east here, just northwest of the U.S. Virgin Islands here. This is the 3.1 here. It's northeast of Cruz Bay, U.S. Virgin Islands. Cruz Bay, U.S. Virgin Islands here, a 3.1 earthquake. Okay, that's what happened here. Now, just for kicks and giggles, I'm going over here into the Appalachian Blue Ridge Mountains here. Okay, this is over in Tellico Plains, Tennessee. It's over here in the Blue Ridge Mountains here in Tennessee. Guess what? This is the eastern part of the United States craton. Eastern Continental United States divide. Eastern Continental Divide here. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. It happened because the Atlantic plate is expanding. The central part of the Atlantic plate here is expanding, pushing Europe and Africa in an easterly direction. It's pushing here, in this case, the Atlantic plate is pushing Greenland, Canada, and the United States and northern Mexico in a southwesterly direction. That's why we have this earthquake here in Tennessee. Further to here to the west, this is on the Pneumatic Fault. This is a 2.3 earthquake here in Marston, Missouri. 2.3 minor earthquake here. This is 7.7 kilometers deep. 7.7 kilometers deep, just over 3 miles deep on the pneumatic fault. The pneumatic fault is moving. It's moving a big way. We're going to see a major earthquake here in the next 2 years. We're going to see a major earthquake here on the pneumatic fault in the next 2 years. Now I want to go up here to the Pacific Northwest. In a few minutes, I'm going to show you a bunch of seismographs. They're graphs from the computer showing you earthquakes here in the Pacific Northwest. Tonight I'm going to primarily show you scientific instruments from the volcanoes. This earthquake here is near Burlington, Washington. This is a 1.0 tremor here. 1.0 tremor here near Burlington, Washington. We go further south here. This is just southeast of the Puget Sound here. Morton, Berrydale, Washington. Morton, Berrydale, Washington. This is a 0.8 microquake. 0.8 microquake, guys. Okay? Now, you're not seeing any earthquakes being shown by the agency at here, Mount Rainier. They're also not showing you anything here at Mount St. Helens or east of there over here in Mount Adams. They're not showing anything here but one lone event here near Mount Hood. Mount Hood. Look at this. This is not at Timberline. This is not a government camp. This is in the foothills southwest of Mount Hood. This is a 0.2 microquake. 0.2 microquake. I'm going to show you a lot more earthquakes than that here at Mount Hood tonight. A lot more. A lot more earthquakes here all over Mount Hood. I'm going to show you earthquakes here to the south at Bachelor Mountain. I'm going to show you earthquakes at Sisters Volcanoes as well. Sisters Volcano are 3 separate distinct volcanoes in what they call the Sisters Complex. I'm going to show you earthquakes down here. I'm going to go further south here at Crater Lake. Crater Lake volcanic system here. We have a bunch of earthquakes here, and yet they're not going to talk about it. What a joke. They don't want to admit what is happening. They do not want to admit what's happening at all. They don't want to take any responsibility for what's going on. But I'm going to show you earthquakes all over this area tonight. Any questions so far? Do we have any questions so far? What I'm showing you here is Mount Baker. Mount Baker is a volcano just south. It's in Washington State, just south of Canada. Look what's here at Mount Baker. We talked about a lot of this last week. Harmonic tremors at Baker Volcano. Harmonic tremors at Baker Volcano. A lot of magma going through the volcano magma chamber. It's causing rock fracturing. A lot of rock fracturing. Magma is coming into Mount Baker under pressure. That's what's causing these harmonic tremors. You can also see earthquakes here. One such earthquake happened here after 4 a.m. this morning. About 4:02 a.m. this morning. Actually, it was later than that. It was 6:02 a.m. this morning. 2.0 earthquake. You can see the tremor activity build up before that. Further into today here on the blue line on the right-hand side. The blue line here on the left is 10:30 this morning. So over here is a little bit different story. Over here, just a little bit different story. Guess what? Mount Baker's moving. Mount Baker is moving, guys. Mount Baker's moving a lot. This earthquake here happened at approximately 10:12 this morning. Actually, not 12. Here on the blue line on the left-hand side would be 10:30. So this is 12 minutes later. This is 10:42 a.m. this morning. 2.4, 2.5 earthquake here at 10:42 a.m. this morning. Unreal, huh? Then we come down here to 11:15 on the red line. 11:15 on the red line. This is a 2.0, 2.2 earthquake. Okay? Again, this happened at 11:20 a.m. this morning. 2.0, 2.2 earthquake. But all the rest of this is harmonic tremors. Harmonic tremors at Mount Baker. Now I'm going to show you another seismograph here. I want to show this to you. I want to show you what is actually going on at Mount Baker. Look at this. This seismogram I took from Shuxon Volcano. Shuxon Volcano. It's actually Mount Baker, but it's a ski resort called Shuxon on the north side of Mount Baker. Look at the VLF wavy lines here. VLF wavy lines, very low frequency waves caused by incoming magma into the magma chamber here at Mount Baker. Heavy duty activity. Heavy duty activity here. The tight curly lines here is indicative of very volatile volcano here. Very volatile, very busy magma-wise here at Mount Baker. Then it gets less and less throughout the day today. After 2 a.m. this morning. Between 2 a.m. and 8 a.m. this morning. It calmed down. Then it got busy again. Even though we have VLF waves here, you can see some earthquakes. You can see earthquakes. This first one here is after 10 at 10. It's on the blue line here, which would be 10:39 a.m. this morning. 10:39 a.m. this morning. This looks like a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake. The one after that happened actually before that. Okay, it happened before that. It appears also on the black line. In this case, this is a 3.0, 3.2 earthquake. 3.0, 3.2 earthquake here. This happened after 9:11 a.m. this morning. So we basically had 2 3.0 plus earthquakes here this morning here at Mount Baker. Mount Baker is a busy volcano, a very busy volcano. Let's go south to Glacier Peak. Glacier Peak is approximately 42 miles southwest of Mount Baker. It's still a busy volcano. Look at this. There is only one seismograph here on Mount Baker. As I said before, USGS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network said about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, that they were going to install 5 more seismographs on Glacier Peak. They still haven't done it. They're only showing one seismograph here. That's this one. Here we're seeing 2 earthquakes here on 2 different red lines here. This first red line here on the left-hand side, it will be 5:15. But over here, this is 5:17. I'm sorry, no, it isn't. This would be 5:32 a.m. this morning. 5:32 a.m. this morning. This is a 2.9 3.0 earthquake. Down one more red line here. Okay. This is at approximately 5:44 a.m. this morning. 5:44 a.m. this morning. This one is a 3.0 small earthquake. So we have a 2.8, 2.9 before that, and now a 3.0, possibly a 3.2 earthquake here. Mount Baker, no, not Mount Baker, but Glacier Peak volcano. Lee is asking, I wonder if there's Earth cycle occurring here. Partially. Yes, I believe some earthquakes happen in cycles. Some volcanoes also operate in a cycle. But in this case, Glacier Peak is moving. It's recharging. All the volcanoes around the world are recharging. That's what's happening here. Now, I do not believe Glacier Peak is going to erupt anytime soon. We're not seeing that kind of activity. If we were seeing a large amount of earthquakes at Glacier Peak, as we're seeing at Mount Rainier or even Mount St. Helens, then I would say, quite honestly, this volcano may erupt. But in this case, I'm not saying that at all. I don't believe Glacier Peak is anywhere near closely to erupting at all. But Mount Rainier and also Mount St. Helens is. Let's go south to Mount Rainier. Let's talk about Camp Sherman on the top south side of Mount Rainier. Okay, this is Camp Sherman here. Look at the earthquakes and tremors here. We have mostly tremors here, but we also have some 2.0 minor earthquakes here. That red signature here at the top left-hand side of the seismograph, it's called a magma churn signal. This particular magma churn signal is 9 lines high. Magma churn signals typically are 23 to 24 lines high. This one being 9 lines high, this is about 45 to 47% of real world, meaning that the seismologist turned down the strength of the turned down the strength of this seismograph, meaning the electrical charge of the seismograph has been turned down. So it's not showing necessarily what real world is, meaning 45 to 47% of the activity here you're not going to see. The 2.0 earthquakes here are probably closer to 2.5, 2.7. We don't see any medium-sized earthquakes here, no 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes here. We have tremors, and we also have 2.0 earthquakes here, possibly even 2.5s, considering this seismograph was turned down. Those other vertical lines here to the right of that magma churn signal, those are steam signals. That means Glacier Peak is steaming, allowing water vapor from the magma to escape in the atmosphere. 6 to 7% of magma is water. 6 to 7% of magma is water. So this is what's happening. As the magma pounds on the underside of the great big huge volcanic rock that acts as the plug in the volcano, it hammers away at the magma plug at the top of the volcano. When it's doing that, it's allowing that magma plug to shatter, literally to shatter. Let me bring up I just brought up my webcam. Let me show you this. There is a magma plug at the top of every volcano, left over from lava as it cooled. at the end of the last eruption. The magma from underneath is hammering away at the magma plug, just like this. Suppose, let's say, this area between my fingers are fissures that open up in the plug. Fissures or cracks that open up in the plug. From the heavy-duty magma, the magma pounding at the bottom of the plug. Cracks develop. Then all of a sudden, that water vapor from the magma is trying to escape through those holes in that plug. The water vapor is attempting to come through the holes in that plug. As it does that, it's escaping steam from the volcano, isn't it? SO2 sulfur dioxide. SO2 sulfur dioxide and also carbon dioxide gas. That's what comes from magma inside the volcano. As that escapes, it's heated up, isn't it? Magma is typically at about 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. As that water vapor comes through here, it also expands those holes here. Expands the holes. It's a simple physics experiment here. That hot water vapor escapes through these holes, allowing those holes to expand. Allowing those holes to expand. As those holes expand, more and more water vapor is going to escape. And that plug is still getting pounded away from beneath. That magma from beneath, excuse me, is going to shatter that plug at some point in time. The magma beneath inside that magma chamber is going to explode that magma or that lava plug. And that's going to go bluey. Then we're going to have a volcanic eruption. But at this point in time, Glacier Peak is nowhere near going to have a volcanic eruption. But this volcano will. Mount Rainier will have that eruption. It's been steaming for a lot of years. Not just that. The number of earthquakes that continue to happen here at Mount Rainier is huge. A lot more earthquakes here. Let me show you some of the earthquakes that have been happening here at Mount Rainier. Just a second here. Now I showed you Camp Sherman. Let's go over to the north side of Mount Rainier to Camp Muir. Okay. Now today at Camp Muir, we're not showing any real good size earthquakes in here. Usually we see 3.0, 3.5 to 4.5 earthquakes happening here at Mount Rainier. Every day. Every day. Today it's not one of those days. However, we do have at least one halfway decent sized earthquake here. That earthquake happened just after 6:30 this morning on the blue line here to the left. This was a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake this morning. Approximately 6:31 this morning. Now, up at the top of this seismogram here, again, this seismogram starts at 5 p.m. last night up on the left-hand side. 1700 hours, 5 p.m. military time. That blue line here is 5:30. Over here towards the middle. Now we are at approximately 5:11 p.m. last night. This earthquake here might be close to a 3.0 earthquake. This earthquake may be close to 3.5 or 3.0 earthquake. Why do I say that? We cannot see the top of this seismic event. And it's not showing on yesterday's seismogram. It's not showing at all. Because the earthquake occurred here after approximately 5:41, 5:42 this afternoon, or yesterday afternoon. So it's not going to show the full earthquake here. But this one's close to 3.0 earthquake here. Then down here on the left-hand side here, just after 6:31 this morning, That is a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. All the other earthquakes here are minor tremors. And we have maybe one other small minor earthquake here. This is Mount Rainier. This is Mount Rainier. Now I think I have one more seismogram here to show you at Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier has a lot of earthquakes happening here. They have a lot of magma coming into this magma chamber. A lot. A lot. Let me show you what is happening at Mount Rainier right here. This is the Emerald Ridge seismograph. Emerald Ridge seismograph has 5 channels on the seismograph. This channel is the HHE side. You can see the wavy lines here. These are VOF waves caused by magma coming into the magma chamber of this volcano. The busy waves here indicate a lot of magma, which causes earthquakes. Why is that? As the magma enters the volcano, under pressure, it's fracturing rock as it comes into the volcano. It's fracturing rock. But you did not see that today on the other seismograph. Why not? Because the agency is deleting the information. The agency is deleting this information. We should have been showing quite a few earthquakes here during this busy time period where this magma is coming into Mount St. Helens. Or in this case, Mount Rainier. This is Mount Rainier. A lot of magma coming into Mount Rainier, which would typically show us quite a few earthquakes. But that's not what happened here. But there are earthquakes here at Mount Rainier. Okay? This VOF wave seismogram here shows a lot of activity. A lot of magma coming into Mount Rainier tonight and earlier today. Okay? Let's drop down to Mount St. Helens. I'm going over to east on Mount St. Helens on this seismogram right here. Look what we're showing here. Mount St. Helens has several seismographs on the volcano. Several. This is east on Mount St. Helens. This seismograph sits on top of the lava rock at the top of the volcano. Look at this. We're seeing a lot of tremors here. A bunch of tremors. But after, let me enlarge this some more here. After 2 a.m. this morning, we have harmonic tremors here. Harmonic tremors. These harmonic tremors don't stop. These harmonic tremors last nearly all day long. From 2 a.m. yesterday, 2 a.m. this morning, all the way until I captured this seismograph showing this stuff after 3 p.m. this afternoon. Harmonic tremors. Mount St. Helens is getting ready to erupt. Mount St. Helens is getting ready to erupt. Okay? I'm just saying that. It's going to happen. We have proof of it. We have proof of it. Now I'm going to show you a couple more seismograms from Mount St. Helens here. The next one I want to show you is from September lobe BHE. September lobe BHE. Look at this. It's hardly showing us anything. It's hardly showing us anything, except right here this afternoon. On this black line here. This black line on the left-hand side would be 12 noon. But over here, this is basically 12:19 p.m. this afternoon. 12:19 p.m. this afternoon. This is a 3.0 earthquake. A 3.0 earthquake here. Okay? 3.0 earthquake here at Mount St. Helens. This happens every day at Mount St. Helens. It happens every day at Mount Rainier. Why did we not see it at Mount Rainier? Because the agency has erased the data. The agency erases the data all the time. Mount Rainier is getting ready to erupt. Mount St. Helens is also getting ready to erupt. You saw the VLF waves at Mount Rainier. Let me show you the VLF waves at Mount St. Helens. This might blow your mind. This might blow your mind. Look at this. Look at the heavy-duty VLF waves here at Mount St. Helens. It started way before this seismogram began last night. This started about 3 p.m. yesterday. Over at 1700 hours, which is 5 p.m. here on the seismogram. 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time yesterday evening. This is a lot of activity. A lot of magma coming into Mount St. Helens. This means we should have seen some earthquakes here yesterday afternoon and yesterday evening. But again, they're not showing it because they erased the data. They altered the data, guys. They altered the data. What does that mean? That means they lied to the public. They lied to the public. They omitted the data. Now, this is serious. When I say this is serious, I mean it. I was a federal police officer once upon a time. If I had altered a police report, whether it was a vehicle report about what I did during my time on the job, whether it was an arrest report or whatever it was, if I altered it in any way, shape, or form, I would have lied, which made that report invalid, which would get my butt kicked off the department and probably go to jail. Probably going to jail. But the public is telling the agency they want to hear this, they want to hear what's going on. The public is saying they want to see it. But the politicians are telling the agency not to talk about it. The politicians are telling the agency not to talk about it because if the people found out, they would move out of this area. They would move away from Mount Rainier. They would move away from Mount St. Helens. Remember in October 1980, Mount St. Helens blew its stack. 53 people died. I don't remember the exact figure. It was 53 people died here at Mount St. Helens. Why? Because the agency at one point in time before it erupted saw a lot of activity and they evacuated the area around the volcano. Then things calmed down for a short time, so they allowed the scientists and the rock climbers back here on Mount St. Helens. All of a sudden, 2 days later, it explodes. Kills all the people that live here on the mountain. It killed the people that were hiking on the mountain as well. And one geologist that was on the side of the mountain as well, monitoring the activity at Mount St. Helens, killed. They altered the data so people won't know what's going on. People have no idea what's going on. They do it on a regular basis. Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier are getting ready to erupt. I'm showing you the data right now. This data exists every day. This happens every day. It's not every other day. It's not every other hour. It's every day just like this. Hours on end. Hours on end. Now, yesterday between 5 p.m. and 11 p.m., a large amount of magma came in. Then it calmed down. Then it started picking up about 3 o'clock this morning. And it continued to just after 7 p.m. this morning. Still a lot of magma coming into this magma chamber. Very busy. This happens because the magma is getting ready to erupt from these volcanoes. These volcanoes are beginning to get ready for eruption. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. Now, for time's sake, let's jump down to Mount Hood. Good old Mount Hood in Oregon. Mount Baker, So far, Mount Baker, Glacier Peak, Mount Rainier, and Mount St. Helens is in Washington State. Let's jump down to Mount Hood. Good old Mount Hood. Crud. Darn it. Okay, give me a second, guys. Give me a second. I'm going to have to pull up the Mount Hood data and show it to you. Mount Hood data didn't show up here on my data sheet here. It won't take long for me to give it to you, though. Give me a second. Mount Hood is moving. Mount Hood is moving. Now I'm going to show you for kicks and giggles one seismogram here for Mount Hood. Mount Hood current. Mount Hood current. This is what's currently going on at Mount Hood. Look at this. By tomorrow, they're not going to show you this activity at all. They're going to alter it as if it never happened. We're seeing 2.0, 2.2, maybe 2.3 earthquakes here at Mount Hood happening right now. That's what we're showing you here. Okay? Mount Hood right now. Crazy. Crazy. I'm going to show you another one from earlier. Okay, I'm going to show you a timberline from earlier today and yesterday. This is current at Mount Hood here. Let me show you timberline. Look at this, guys. This is what's happening at Mount Hood today. Last night is up at the top from 1700 hours to 00 hours here last night. 00 hours is 12 midnight here on the left-hand side. After that, look at the earthquakes happening here. Look at that. We had 2.3, 2.4, 2.5 earthquakes happening here from about 8 o'clock on last night. 2.2, 2.3, 2.5 earthquakes happening here, literally all evening long here at Mount Hood. This is timberline. This is government camp here at Mount Hood. Look at the harmonic tremors here. Harmonic tremors. Hours and hours. Mount Hood is working on erupting. No, USGS does not put up a yellow cautionary thread right now, but they may in the future if this were to continue. This is at Government Camp Timberline on the south side of Mount Hood. Now I'm going to show you another one here just up to the top side of Mount Hood. It's called Palmer Lift. Palmer Lift is next. Gosh. Okay, the next one I'm going to show you is Palmer Lift, guys. Palmer Lift is active as well. Wait till you see this. Look at this, guys. Palmer Lift is active. You're seeing some VOF wave activity here. This is light for the most part. Down here towards the bottom, we have harmonic tremors, and you also see magma coming into Mount Hood. Mount Hood is active. Now, if we continue to see this like this, USGS will have to show it as an active volcano that may be getting ready to erupt. This is what happened 3 years ago. This is exactly what happened 3 years ago. And they issued a yellow volcanic advisory, warning of a possible eruption. They're not warning it right now. I'm just showing you what's going to happen, what is happening right now. Mount Hood is amping up. Mount Hood is acting up. Unreal. Unreal. Now I've shown you all the volcanoes, or not all, but most of the volcanoes in Washington and in northern Oregon. Let's jump down to Bachelor Volcano. Bachelor Volcano, guys. I think you're going to be excited to see what happens at Bachelor Volcano. Bachelor Volcano is called Moon. Moon. Bachelor Volcano is moving. It's moving, guys. Bachelor Volcano is showing activity. I have a feeling that I downloaded this activity off the agency, and they decided they didn't want me to have it. That's what I think has happened here. Yeah. Just a second, I'll show you this. You're going to be real surprised here what happens. Look at this. This is Bachelor Volcano. Up until about 4 months ago, USGS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network were not showing anything going on here at Bachelor Volcano. They turned the seismograph off. But look what's happening actually. We're seeing harmonic tremors here. We're seeing earthquakes happening here. We are also seeing a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber. Bachelor Volcano is moving. Bachelor Volcano is moving, guys. It's moving in a big way. Okay? All of these volcanoes are supercharging. They're recharging. They are recharging, guys. There is magma going to all the volcanoes worldwide. There is magma going to all the volcanoes worldwide. And if that's happening, there is a possibility of an eruption. There is a possibility that these volcanoes could erupt. I'm going to be honest with you. It could happen. It could happen. Let me show you the VOF wave monitor here at Bachelor Volcano. Let me show you this. This might blow your mind of sorts as well. Look at this. I showed you some of the other activity at other than volcanoes. The VLF wave volcano, VLF wave activity at the other volcanoes. This is big time. This is big time. Bachelor Volcano has a lot of magma coming into the volcano. Now, the other seismograph I just showed you, seismograph didn't show you. They didn't show you a lot of earthquakes. There are earthquakes happening here at Bachelor Volcano. Why? Because the VLF wave activity would have earthquakes here. As the magma enters the volcano under such pressure as it is, it causes rock fracturing, which would cause earthquakes. Which means because the agency is not showing it on the seismograms, doesn't mean it did happen. It did. They're just deleting the data. They're just deleting the data here. Bachelor Volcano is moving in a big way. Let's go down here and show you Newberry Volcano here. Good old Newberry Volcano. Newberry Volcano is moving here. Look at this. Talk about movement. Yes, we're seeing some earthquakes here. We're also seeing harmonic tremors here. Newberry Volcano is moving. We haven't seen this kind of activity in some time. Newberry Volcano is also moving. Let's jump down to South Central Oregon. I want to show you what is happening at Crater Lake. I've got two seismograms to show you. The first one at Mount Scott, over on the southeast side of Mount Crater Lake. Crater Lake. Look at this. Again, we're seeing harmonic tremors here. Harmonic tremors over here on the southeast side of Crater Lake. Let's show you Bunkhouses, which is the south central part of Crater Lake. That's next. This is the bunkhouse. Now, why are we seeing all this activity at the bottom side of the seismogram? Because, folks, they turned off the seismogram or turned it all the way down where it's not showing any activity. That's what they did. Then one of the seismologists comes in here after 7 a.m. and goes, oh my gosh, someone turned down the seismograph. It happens all the time. This happens all the time, every day. It happens at almost every one of these volcanoes. They shut down the seismograph. They come in and turn it back on instantly. Instantly, we see activity. That's what's happened here. The seismologist, before he left yesterday afternoon, turned the activity, turned the electronics down so they wouldn't register any activity either last night or early this morning, because we don't see it before 7 o'clock. We see some tremors after 7 o'clock. Then at 8 o'clock, we start seeing these harmonic tremors again. Then we also see some 2.0 earthquakes as well. A lot of tremors here. That's what's going on. Harmonic tremors and some earthquakes here. Interesting, huh? The entire volcanic system here in the Cascadia area, it's increasing. All the volcanic activity from up in British Columbia to the north, all the way down into Northern California at Mount Shasta and Mount Lassen. Mount Shasta and Mount Lassen are also part of the Cascadia volcanoes. They're part of the Cascade volcanoes. Everything is moving here. All of the volcanoes are moving. Last week, I showed you activity along the coastlines of Washington, Oregon, and California. It's still there. I guarantee you it's still there. We're showing you a lot of activity here. I believe we're going to have a Cascade Mountain eruption. A Cascade Mountain eruption. Probably either at Mount Rainier or Mount St. Helens. It could also happen at some point in time, could really started going like it is today, Mount Hood might join them. And then even down here at Crater Lake. Okay, that's what's going on. Any questions here? Do we have any questions about any of the volcanoes here in the Cascade Mountain system? It's all going, guys. It's all going. I've shown you here. There's no doubt in my mind what we're seeing here. There is no doubt in my mind in what we're seeing here. Any questions? Richard Smith is talking about a 4.2 in the Seram Sea of Indonesia right now. A 4.2 moderate earthquake in Seram Sea, Indonesia. It's moving. Kathy Payne is asking about camp at Space Force $45 sign, right? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, Kathy. Are you talking about a Space Force base at Cape Kennedy? I don't think they allow anyone to drop down at camp out at Mount or at Cape Canaveral. You can park your car at Cocoa Beach and camp on the beach. You can also get a cheap hotel room in Cocoa Beach and watch the space shots from Cocoa Beach. That's probably one of the best places you could be. Camping out at Cocoa Beach and watching the activity from Cocoa Beach. Shirley is asking, Lava Channel Seven Sisters, are they feeding each other like highway system? No, I don't think that's the case. I don't think these volcanoes are necessarily linked. I don't think any of these volcanoes are linked in any way, shape, or form. They're fed by completely different magma channels. The main magma channel is down in the South Pacific. The main magma plume is coming from the way down the South Pacific and supplying all the magma for all the volcanoes around the world. Supplying all the magma for all the volcanoes around the world. It's way down in the South Pacific. Any questions? I appreciate you all being here tonight. I really do. Having you here means a great deal to me. I try to give you a devotional every evening we're on the air. I want to go over to 1 Timothy tonight in the New Testament. I want to go over 1 Timothy chapter 1. I'm going to start with verse 11 and go through probably verse 12. According to the glorious gospel of the blessed God, which was committed to my trust, I thank Christ Jesus, our Lord, who hath enabled me, for that he counted me faithful, putting me into the ministry. Brothers and sisters, each one of us are ministers. Each one of us are supposed to be ministering to our families and to our friends and neighbors. Each one of us has been called to the work. Each one of us has the Holy Spirit, has the ability to feel the Holy Spirit guide you in your life. Each one of us are ministers charged with helping teach the gospel to our family, friends, and our neighbors. That's what we were committed here to do, to help each other. Brothers and sisters, I have a testimony of that. And in verse 14, the grace of our Lord was exceedingly abundant with faith and love, which is in Christ Jesus. This is a faithful saying and worthy of all acceptation, that Christ Jesus came to the world to save sinners, of whom I am chief. Howbeit for this cause I obtained mercy, that in me first Jesus Christ might shew forth all long suffering, for a pattern to them which should hereafter believe on him to have life everlasting. That's what each of us is doing. We're trying to achieve life everlasting. We have the obligation to help teach our friends and neighbors and our family. Let's do it. Let's be ministers on Mount Zion. Let's be ministers on Mount Zion. Let's help each other. Let's love each other. Let's help each other. Let's lift each other up. Let's lift each other up. That's what we're called to do. Brothers and sisters, I have a testimony of Jesus Christ. I would hope that each one of us can do that as well. I pray for each one of you every night. I pray that you will be guided and directed. I pray that you will be protected by our Savior Jesus Christ and our Heavenly Father. I ask for that, for you, in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. If anything else happens tonight, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available, or even in the morning or afternoon. We will come back tomorrow evening and talk about California and the new Madrid fault. It's moving. We'll be talking about it tomorrow evening. I was hoping we'd be joined by our buddy Barry Prince in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Terrence, British Columbia, Vancouver, or not Vancouver. He lives in Terrence, British Columbia. We've had Alberta, Canada represented here. We've had Central Canada here, Saskatchewan, Canada, and even over there in Nova Scotia. We appreciate all of you being here. One of these days, we'll have Barry Prince and Dave back here on our channel, and we'll try to get information about what's happening to you in Canada. We are brothers and sisters here. We help each other. God be with you until we meet again.